It's as simple as it can be. Thank you very much for doing the recording, Ron. We appreciate that. As I was saying, this is the Vera HF, which you'll need to act as the modem for Vera AC. It's as simple as can be. There's nothing to set up except in the settings. You got to tell it, oh, just a few things. Nothing worth mentioning there. You might need to adjust ports, but we usually hope that won't be the case. Let me turn off my radio here. And then in settings, well, it's just sound card. That's all there is to it. Nothing else to say. And the rest of everything that I have to show you here will be just about as quick. By the way, when you're running Vera HF, if you don't pay about 60 or $70 for a license, then every once in a while it'll pop up this continue to evaluate pop-up. Friend Jim, K5CJR in Oklahoma City, reminded us of the popular term for software that does this kind of thing. It's nagware. Periodically comes up with a message nagging you to pay up, but you don't have to. You can continue to use it free without paying for it. So I'll move that back out of the way. And so there's not much to show here either. These two boxes up at the top tell you who you've heard beacons from over in this window on the left with the green background. They'll tell you how long ago in hours and minutes. And then over here on the window to the right, we have the CQ calls, stations that have called CQ. If you'd like to answer a CQ, you just double click the call sign. Got to make sure you're on the call sign field when you double click. It won't work if you double click it somewhere else in that line. But that gets a CQ started. And before we talk about the other features, let's go ahead and get a connection started between me and Stephen. Before I do that, I want to use the Pathfinder feature to see if anybody's heard from Stephen. So I click Pathfinder over here on the right-hand side and put in Stephen's call sign, WY6Y, click Find Path, and now I'll send out a broadcast to all stations asking if anybody has heard from WY6Y. Now, with any luck, I'll get a few replies to this. It takes a little while for them to come in. They're staggered. They have an algorithm. I'm not sure about the details of it, but it keeps everybody from trying to answer you at the same time. You'll usually, in the course of a few minutes, get 2 or 3 replies to one of those. It's a little unusual when conditions are as good as they seem to be tonight, not to already have a reply from stations letting us know where he's heard Stephen and at what signal strength. But it looks like that's not going to happen tonight. So we'll just go right ahead and make a connection to Stephen. So up here to the left of the green beacons window, we have this little section here where there are several buttons that will let you do the basic functions. And I just use the little click down here to find the call sign I'm interested in, UI6Y, and hit connect. By the way, Ron, you're not muted. So I hit connect here, and now my station will make a series of transmissions. Oh, it's waiting for frequency to clear. Now this happens sometimes.
You got a busy signal up on the top there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I've had to.
Yeah, while
By
you're
the,
waiting on that, Jim was talking about that $60 fee. If you notice that right above where he put the call sign as 500 hertz and 2300 hertz. Uh, if you pay the $60, you can use the 2300 hertz. But I've used it, and you don't find many people there.
and conditions have to be good to use it faster anyway. It may cut you down to a slower speed just because of conditions.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if this is happening this time or not, but this allows me to mention an apparent bug that I've noticed in the VARAC program. A couple of times lately, I've had it just waiting for frequency to clear, and it never stops doing that. And I found that by simply restarting the program, which I'll do now, I can get it to make a clean connection the next time. So that's what I'll do. I'll restart it. Brings up VARHF. By the way, it will do that automatically. You can already have VARHF running when you start VARAC, or if you don't, then VARAC will bring it up automatically when it starts, so you don't have to worry about it. Now let's try to make a connection, Steven, see if it goes a little smoother this time. Now my radio is making a series of transmissions.
I got you.
All right, connected to WY6Y. And right on schedule, pop-up comes up and nags me to pay money. Okay, so now I can type things. It will appear briefly in this window, and it'll go over to the currently sending window. While it's sending, you can watch it highlighting in green the portion that's already sent. Also, down here on the lower bar of the program, you can see the progress of what you're sending. If you're sending a long message, then you can have the track of that. Well, let's go ahead and show that. We need to get a QSY done here. A lot of times that happens automatically when you make a connection to somebody. It just automatically requests a QSY. One or the other will. And since that's not happening, I'm going to go over here on the right. You see a section that says QSY and it has an up arrow and a down arrow. You can choose either to QSY up or down. So I'm requesting QSY up. And now that starts the QSY process. Stephen, you should be getting a request for QSY.
Roger, Roger, I got it and accepted your invitation.
Now, if you don't QSY, it only gives you a certain amount of time. Is it 3 minutes?
Yeah, I think it is on the calling frequency.
Yeah, you can only have 3 minutes on the calling frequency before you move to one of the other slots. So if you want to have a lengthy connection, that's necessary. And I think it's also necessary in order to exchange Vmail or files. So now I'm
That's
over
right.
here on the right. I'm going to, it's finishing up the QSY process. Now over here on the right, I'm going to click the send Vmail button. It's already got Stephen's call sign in it for the two fields. I can come up with a subject.
Well, it sounds somehow we got disconnected there, Jim. I'm gonna try and connect back with you. Right. Don't QSY. I'm gonna try and reconnect on this frequency.
Okay.
You're on 7.105.75.
Uh, let's see. Yeah, I can't get my window to scroll, so I can't confirm that for you.
Oh, well, it disconnected me from you for some reason, and it's trying to get me to go back to the calling frequency.
Or maybe we should just go to the calling frequency and get things
Sure.
from
Yeah,
there.
we could start over there.
And since that's happened this way, I'm going to finish out a short little message.
Hey Jim, this is Ralph. Looking at mine, it says I have to have a 9600 baud connection between the PC and the radio. Will it only work on 9600?
Well, that's rig specific. What kind of baud rate you need is going to depend on your radio. So I won't be able to answer that question for you. With my Yaesu TS 450D, I mean, um, I have 4800. 4800 is what it wants for that.
Okay, yeah, because my COM port I have set up for 4800, so I was surprised that it told me I needed 96.
Yeah. Does anybody else know any more details about um, why it might be insisting on a different baud rate here?
I don't know the answer to that question, Jim. I would imagine it would be rig specific.
Yes, we're just going to have to leave it there, aren't we? Okay. Um, so since we got disconnected, I'm going to go ahead and compose this email to Stephen and hit send on it. And it will tell me that since I'm not connected, um, it can't deliver it to anybody at this time, but it'll wait in my outbox. And what will happen is a couple of things. One of them, this is a very nice feature that I really like about VARAC. If there is if VARAC sees a broadcast from Stephen, I mean a beacon from Stephen, it will send, I believe, a broadcast message to Stephen and tell him you have VMail waiting with KX0U. Or if he connects to me, then he'll receive that message as well, and the VMail will just automatically change. So I'm going to try to connect to Stephen again. He's still selected in the from the drop
You're
down.
back on the calling frequency, Jim?
It should be.
Okay. There you are.
And we're connected. And now, since I have VMail waiting for him after a QSY, which I hope it'll do automatically this time, but we'll see. After a QSY, it'll be able to exchange VMail. It'll send that VMail that's waiting for me.
Oh, it's sending it on the calling frequency. It'll do that sometimes, and I'm not exactly sure why it does that. It's almost like if you were previously connected recently, it'll do that.
Yeah, it's
But
not the only thing I've caught it doing that I couldn't explain.
yeah, I went ahead and sent up a QSY invitation too.
But you can see in the currently sending window the text from my email to Stephen. And here's our QSY. Yeah, sometimes it'll tell you in order to exchange VMail, you're going to have to QSY, and I guess occasionally it'll just do it without a QSY. Okay, I've got my message. The VMail is delivered successfully. Momentarily, Stephen will have his notification that he's got new VMail. Any luck yet, Stephen?
Yes, sir. I got it.
Okay, why don't you try replying to that?
Sure thing.
It's coming in. You can see the text on the screen here as the VMail transfers. Now that that has completed, I have a little flashing red new VMail indication here. So I can click on that and I'll see any VMails that I've received. Double click on the email there. There it is. Reply from Stephen. And close it. Delete it if I choose to. And close this. Now I'm going to go ahead and disconnect. Next, I want to call CQ. And Stephen, you'll, of course, be welcome to answer my CQ.
Sure thing. Yes, it will.
To call CQ, it's just one of the buttons up here in the upper left. Call CQ button. And here you'll see the alternate slots. When we were doing a QSY, we were transferring to one of these slots. When you call CQ, you will automatically move to one of the other slots after you make your call. You'll make your call on the main frequency, then you will automatically move to one of the slots. If you want to choose a particular slot, you can hit one of them here, and that will be your slot.
And
Also,
Jim, you might want to point out the slot sniffer too. You can click that and it'll temporarily move over to that slot to make sure it's not already in use.
there is a step 3 slot sniffer here. This is optional. It will work if you don't do this, but it's a good idea. What it does is it listens to the slot you selected. So it says to click and hold. So I keep holding it until this little progress bar comes down to 0. It says done. I lift up on that. That will confirm that that slot is actually free. So now I call CQ. I'm sending out a CQ. That should be appearing in Stephen's window for CQ calls. You can see I'm now standing by on slot 12. Is my CQ showing up there, Stephen?
It hasn't, and you know, one of the reasons why it might not, the CQ calls and broadcasts are asynchronous, so you don't have any parity. There's no it doesn't check to make sure that the other station received it. So there's always a chance when you're doing an asynchronous message that it's not going to hear it. When you're actually engaged in an actual conversation, it's going to keep sending it until it gets that ACK. But when it's asynchronous, it's not going to get that. So I didn't get your CQ call this time, but I can move to slot 12 and kind of pretend like I did if you want me to.
I'm going to try the CQ one more time. I can
Okay, yeah, try it again.
click here to return now, it says. So now my CQ call has been canceled instead of waiting the 5 minutes it would normally wait for on that slot for somebody to connect. And I'll try it again. Calling CQ, slot sniffer. And call CQ.
I think somebody else sent a CQ call exactly as you sent yours over to this time, Jim. I'm not kidding.
Okay. Oh, I'll try once more and see if third time's the charm.
Okay.
If that doesn't do it, then maybe we can just go ahead and make a connection to demo a remaining feature or two.
Yeah.
Call CQ, slot sniffer. Call CQ.
No, I didn't get that one either. Jim.
Okay. Well, let's see if we can make a regular connection now.
That's the old asynchronous message for you, but it just goes to show you the power of what Vera will do when when you actually are engaged in a an actual conversation with somebody, it will keep sending that in different ways until it finally gets that that acknowledgement back, which I think is great. That's JS8 won't do that, and I think that's one of the coolest things about Vera. All right, now I'm connected to you.
All right, I should get the confirmation of that myself in a second. But no.
Oh, I think somebody else is on top of us right now.
Well, since a typical USO can last for minutes, probably wouldn't do for us to just sit around and wait for them to get through. Sorry to say. I'm going to just give it a try one more time. But doesn't look like it's going to work. Okay, we'll go ahead and talk about the
Jim,
remaining.
are you on 105?
Well, I should be.
Okay.
Let's put it there. Maybe it failed to make one of the returns from a QSY at some point. Tried to connect to you again, but I assume I would have been because we did get connected that one time. Even though I didn't get a reply from you.
All right, now we're connected. There we go.
All right, great. So that allows me to continue on. Up here in settings, one of the things you have is canned, predefined messages. Here you can put in various canned messages. Some of them can have these components. You can have it put in your QTH, locator name, call sign, other um, other identifying information by including those things in brackets in one of your canned messages. Here's one for my info. Here's one for rig, which is sent as working conditions. There's one for 73s. There are a couple of cute little pictures that can draw for you. And then these others are canned messages that I've composed myself, things that I might want to say during a QSO to help make a little chit chat. So I'm going to click on my load canned messages down here in the lower right portion of the screen. And I'll send Stephen my licensing start information. So when I click on that, it puts it in a new message window. I still have to send for it to actually take off. And as I mentioned before, now you can see in red, bar down at the bottom of the window. You can see it flicking off the progress, currently at 125 bytes out of 423. So we could just watch that slowly crank out. See it in the currently sending window. If your eyes are good, you can see the green that it uses to mark what has already been sent. Stuff that's still waiting in the buffer is in black. It's reminding us that we're on a calling frequency. Need to close, lead to QSY will be closed in just a little over a minute. That should be time for my canned message to get through. And about the only other thing that might be interesting to show is that you can send files or pictures. There's a send file button that I just clicked on over here. Sending a file over a calling frequency is forbidden. So let's QSY. I'll do a QSY up request. Right, did we get that?
Got your request. Jim, would you like for me to send over my my info so they can see how it auto populates on those fields down below?
Okay.
I don't think we've done that before yet. It will remember the information that you send over. So if we have another QSO, I'll know your name and you'll know my name. And it will also automatically log it.
So I will send my info as well.
And if you can see at the near the bottom of the screen where it says name, location, and QTH, it populated those fields with what I just sent over. And as he's going to send his over, it'll do the same on mine.
And then after you've got that information, if you hover over one of the call signs on the CQ list, you can tell if you worked them before, and if so, if their name is known. W2GLH is a regular on 40 meters and 20 as well. And so I can see that his name's George, thanks to the mechanism that Stephen just explained, having played out for us one previous day. Okay, so now I can do a send file, and I could choose a picture. I'm not going to actually do this because it takes quite a long time to send a picture. We could send a short text file, but it's really not much point in demonstrating that. But I do want to go just far enough there. Pick anything. And if I click on that, then okay, it is going to send that. I thought I was going to get a chance to kill that off. Because normally bring up a resizing window where it invites you to resize the picture before it sends it. It'll give you an opportunity to save that. But we'll just let this run and we'll go ahead and move things along here because it's almost 9 o'clock. Next, I wanted to give you a chance, Stephen, to just make any remarks you'd like to make. Oh, before we do that, one more thing to show. We've touched on this earlier due to a question from Ralph, but we have rig control and VARAC configurations. Can't change while connected, so I'll go ahead and disconnect. And again, settings, rig control. And you can see the standard stuff here. My Yaesu FT450D is selected here in the push to talk configuration. I put in whatever parameters I need for that, the COM port that I find it has associated with my DigiRig. Then same thing for cat control, set up whatever you need for that. And ta-da, you got some other things you can control, like where you want it logging. Not very interesting to show there. You might need to dink with some of this stuff if you're going to get it to cooperate with another piece of software you have or something like that. And so now, are there any observations you'd like to make about VARAC, Stephen?
Well, one of the things that I think is so great about VARAC is the ability to relay messages through a third party. Not only being able to relay to them, but like we were trying to do earlier, is the Pathfinder request. So, say I'm wanting to get a message to Jim or just about anybody else. I've done this even transcontinental, and I can't hear him at the time, but I do that Pathfinder request, and I get 5 stations come back and say, "Yeah, I just heard him at -4 dB 0 hours ago." Well, I can compose a message to Jim in the VMail, and then I can connect to that station who sent me that VMail, that Pathfinder notification, and I can relay a message to Jim through that station as long as they are participating in relays, as long as they have that setting checked that allows third-party relays, which I find that most people do. And that works amazingly well. In fact, I've even gotten a message relayed as far as Israel before using that method. So I think, to me, that's one of the coolest things. I've used a lot of other digital modes. Probably the one I've used most, apart from VeraC, would be JS8 call. And in contrast to JS8 call, what I love so much is not only the automation, but you almost have zero collisions. It just doesn't happen, for a couple different reasons. And you have the busy signal at top, and it's going to listen, and it's going to make sure that you're not transmitting when somebody else is transmitting. And then if you are in a conversation with somebody and you're in uh, I don't know what the word would be called. You're locked in with them. You're doing bit for bit between each other. It's going to listen for them to stop, and then it's going to wait for them to give you an act before you can transmit. So I find that to be probably one of my favorite features. Just, you're not going to type over somebody. It's going to wait for them to be ready to receive, and that has a very natural feel for me. I grew up in the 80s and 90s using AOL Instant Messenger and AOL chat rooms, and it reminds me a lot of that. So I'd say that feature is probably one of the number one features. You can do, just regular old keyboard to keyboard chat, where you're not sending VMails to each other. You're just sitting there typing to each other, and that feels very natural. My biggest use for it is Vmail, because I'll be up here in the shack doing this, that, and the other, and I'll just leave it running, and it's kind of like my ham radio answering machine. I can hear something coming in, and somebody's sending me a message, and I've got all kinds of pen pals from all over the place now just from that. So I think that's probably my biggest use case scenario for VeraC is Vmail. But it is an excellent program. The guy who started it, his name is Arad Deutsch, and he lives in Israel. And he is very active in the VARAC Facebook community, and if you have a feature request, he will 100% consider it, and most of the time he will implement it. And to me, that's you couldn't ask for something better from a program, to have somebody who's actively listening, using the program, and implementing feature requests. So it's just a great program. And Vera HF modem, if you do pay the $65 to get the modem, it unlocks faster speeds. And even when you're using 500 the 500 hertz, you're still going to have a reduced speed without paying for the upgrade. And even you can use 500 or 2300 without the upgrade, but you're going to get the reduced speeds. But once you get that upgrade, you will notice a speed difference. But it's also useful if you use WinLink. The Verif HF modem is great for that. So, and you don't have to stick on these standard calling frequencies. You can QSY anywhere that data is allowed. And as long as you're not using the standard calling frequencies, you can switch to 2300 hertz and get some pretty fast throughput, as long as your path will allow it. So, anyways, that's all. That's about all I have to say there, Jim. So, WY6Y, back to you.
Okay, thanks very much. Now, let's see if there are any questions. Well, if there are no questions, I guess the only thing, did I hear somebody about to? No. Okay. So if there are no questions, then the only thing left is for me to say thank you very much, Stephen. We appreciate very much you being here, as you were for our JS8 demo many months ago. Yeah, it's too bad Mark wasn't able to make it. We might have been able to do some of the relay features that Stephen mentioned if we had Mark on board to participate with us. With that, one more chance for questions before we say 73 and good night.
And Jim, to actually have the VARA AC, you have to download VARA FM first.
You need a VARA modem program. So yes, whatever you need. I I'm on HF, so I got VARA HF. I don't know if you can use VARAC with the FM version, or if that just supports WinLink.
You can. I've seen it done before.
Great. Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, whatever Vera modem program you need, you have to have downloaded and installed, and then provided you have it there when you start VARAC, it will call it.
Vera HF is probably going to be the most popular flavor for Vera C, because you're more likely to find a connection, in a long path, through Skywave. Vera FM is used primarily, more likely for WinLink, if you're trying to connect to a Vera FM WinLink RMS. But it is possible to do it. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, oh, Mark has joined us.
Yeah, I
Mark,
see him.
I see him. I don't hear him. He may be muted. Yeah, Mark, it looks like you're muted. But as long as Mark is here, let's see if I can connect to him. Ah, got his correct call sign. Okay, trying to connect to Mark. Let's see if he's on the air. Looks like that's also not working. Well, Mark, if you can hear us, thumbs up if you can hear Mark. Okay, great. So you can hear us. I'm glad you were able to join tonight. Apparently, I won't be able to make a connection. If you'd been able to make it sooner, we might have tried to do a relay connection through you. But maybe we'll save that for another time. Let's have any questions.
Can you hear me, Jim?
Yes.
Yeah. Where was I? Yeah, on VARA HF or FM rather. We've used that locally for TechNets if we want to do the demonstration. So you're not going to have a large audience if you try to do it on a regular basis. So primarily I use it for HF, and also on your modem screen where you have your I don't know if you've tried it, but if you copy the directory of the HF modem and make a directory within that called monitor and place all of those files in there, it'll display two modems. One will be a black screen, and you'll see other conversations going on in that black area.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. Yeah.
Yeah. I had to play with that. And you're saying that to do that, you just have to create that directory named monitor. You have
Yeah,
to.
well, you can name it whatever you want because you have to tell it where to find it.
Where do you tell it?
In VARAC.
Is it under the settings?
Yeah, in the settings, there's a selection for monitor. Yeah. Let me see if I can bring mine up.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, Mark, we hear you now.
Yay. Oh, that's the one thing about all of this is getting all your sound stuff working just right with, all the soundy things is sometimes a trick.
Yes, it can be. Would you like to make your remarks about
Well, I'm just getting started. I finding all of this fascinating. So it looks like I did connect to you, Jim. So
yes, we are connected now.
Yeah. I was actually in a chat with a guy in Florida while we were talking.
Stephen, I've never done a relay connection. If I'm connected to Mark here, how would I use that to make a relay connection to you?
Okay. Well, I can see Mark. I can see his beacon, so that's good. What you're going to do is go ahead and compose your message, and you're going to connect to Mark. And then once you are connected, you go to Outbox down there on the bottom right, and you click that. And then you will click the message that you want to relay. I'll wait and do this step by step with you if you want.
Yeah, can't send this now because it'll just deliver, well, to let's WY6Y. Okay, so I hit send on that,
Mm-hmm.
and then I go to my,
Go and connect to Mark first,
okay,
if you're able to see him.
X mark again. And then I bring up that outbox.
Yes, sir. Bring up the outbox, and then you right click on the message you want to relay, and it'll give you a drop down dialog, and one of them says relay now through connected station.
I could probably do that without necessarily composing an email. Just let's make a relayed direct connection. If I can get connected to Mark again.
Yeah. Well, if you want to relay a message through Mark to me, is what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
yeah. To relay a VMail message, you can relay either a direct connection or a VMail message. Yeah, it doesn't look like this um, connection is going to happen this time. So I guess we're back to if there are no more questions. Anybody else have questions?
Yeah, Jim, what did you
Okay.
download to actually get the window that you have up right now that you're sharing?
It's just a program called VARAC. You just search for that. Um, it'll bring you to. Let's see if I can bluff my way through that. Finding the website here.
Yeah, when I went on the Vara AC download, it gave me Vara FM. It did not give me the Vara AC.
You got, uh, you might be on the wrong page then, I think.
So I'm searching for VARAC. I'm not doing it down here, but
So, just a little advice here. So if you are on the if you do a Google search, VARC, and you go to their website, and go to their homepage, it's going to tell you what the excuse me, prerequisites are. It's going to say, if you're on their download page, it says VeraC Windows installer prerequisites, and it's going to give you two options: Vera HF or Vera FM. I would recommend doing Vera HF. 4.87 is the current version. And then down below that, after you get those prerequisites, there is another box in blue, if you want to scroll down a little bit more there, Jim, that says download VeraC window installer. And you will, if you go back up,
okay, I passed it.
yeah, right there. Let's see. Oh, I think you're still on the wrong page. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I haven't
Go.
hit the download VARAC yet.
Okay, yeah, go to the download page.
Okay, now we're on the download page.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so these are the prerequisites, okay? Vera HF is the one you're going to download right in that white box up. Go up a little bit. First, you're going to want to download Vera HF. It's one of the underlined programs there, Vera HF 4.8.7. So that's the prerequisite. That's the actual modem that makes VARC work. So you got to get that first. Once you have that, you want to scroll down to that next portion, that teal portion there. And this is where you're going to download the VARC Windows installer. You don't download it directly for some reason. They send you an email to download it. So you have to fill out that form. You'll get an email, and then you can do the rest from there.
So does that you think that'll be a pointer enough to take it from there? Hopefully that'll get you pointed to Vera HF instead of Vera FM. I notice they're on the same line here. You got to click, on the left or right,
Yeah.
left to get Vera HF. Okay, any other
Steve-
questions? Oh, go
Yeah,
ahead.
Stephen,
Yes,
you
sir.
mentioned something about having a faster Varus HF modem if you paid for something.
Yeah, so the way it works is the man who developed the actual Vara modem is a Spanish ham operator, and his call sign I can't remember it off the top of my head. I did a video about this recently, but he will let you use the modem free of charge, throttled. So no matter if you're using it on 500 hertz, 2300 hertz, or even up to 2700 hertz now, it will be throttled. Now, if you do pay for the modem, the $65, you can use it, pedal to the metal, full force, and it is noticeably faster. And you'll notice it more if you are doing file transfers or you're doing WinLink. Now, this guy has nothing to do with VARAC. VARAC was developed independently um, from Vara modem. So, yes, if you download that, you will notice it is faster.
So here's the download page where it invites you to enter your credit card information to pay the $69.
I look in that modem window. I don't see a upgrade menu option.
So like Jim has been pointed out, it's been a while since I got it, but it pops up with a pop-up from time to time that
Yeah,
will
this pop up,
yeah.
and you
And actually,
click the buy now button.
if you go to
Also,
help the help tab on the modem, there is a drop down and it says buy a
Yes, I
Vara
see.
license.
well, there's an
I see
upgrade.
it.
I have an upgrade menu option. And a menu option that says upgrade on my VerHF modem program.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Yep.
I got it. Thank you.
hmm Uh, I yeah, I did a video about this guy recently, and I have a slight bone to pick with him, and that's that you have to have a PC to get this program to work, and I'm just a classic PC hater, but I like the product so much I have one, but the guy his QRZ page has a picture of somebody that I thought was him, and it turns out it's not. It's a Spanish comedian that he has as his picture, and I used his picture on my video, and I was like, I have a bone to pick with him. He's a genius. This program works extremely well, and I had his picture pop up, but I was like, I just wish you'd open it up to PC or to Mac and Linux. And I got all these messages and emails from Spanish ham operators saying that's not really him. It's a Spanish comedian. I thought that was kind of funny. But anyways, it's been worth it for me to pay for the upgrade because I participate in Ari's WinLink exercises all the time. And so, I'll be sending 15 emails at a time over WinLink, and so it's nice to have that speed. I don't know that it'd necessarily be completely useful if you're just doing VARC though, unless you're doing file transfers over VARC. So that's just my 2 cents on paying for the upgrade.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, any other questions? Thanks for watching, everyone. We appreciate it, and have a good evening.
All right, 73 guys.
Okay, thanks everyone, and I hope to see you next Tuesday night on the TechNet.
And thanks again to you, Stephen.
Happy to be here. Happy to be here anytime.
What's next Tuesday night on TechNet, Ron?
It's going to be a 3D design and print.
Oh, okay. That'll be fun.
Well, you guys talk about a lot of fun stuff over here.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to do another one also on geo mapping from my drone. as soon as it gets warm.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah,
so
that'd
bloody
be
cold.
helpful.
Mark is involved with RC
Yeah,
Fly.
you might notice all the pictures or planes behind me on the wall.
Yeah, I got one behind me. I don't know if you Apprentice, you see that one?
Yeah.
And I got a couple others on a Mavic 3 Pro,
Nice.
Mavic Phantom, or not a Mavic, Phantom 4. And I got my license too, so I'm a licensed pilot now.
Yeah. I haven't done that yet. I keep wanting to.
Well, 80 when I did it, I was 85 years old. So I wasn't sure if I was going to retain enough information to pass it, but I got an 85 on the test. So,
85 and 85.
that's right.
Right. I was thinking the
And
same
that's
thing.
what I asked for, you know. I said, my wife has passed about 7 years ago, and I said, just help me get my age. And sure enough, I got it.
Okay. Thanks, Mark, for coming tonight. Sorry you couldn't make it sooner. And thanks again to Stephen, and thanks to all of you for watching.
All right.
Hey.
73, guys. Have a great night.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, guys. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks a lot.
That's 73.